we're going to talk about hole notes on drawings and how to use the hole command within Fusion 360. So if we take a look at our drawing over here on the left side, we have two views. We have a top view of this block with the 4 different hole types. We have all of the hole notes that define what the characteristics of those holes are. We have locations of the holes and then the overall size of the block. And then we also have a section view of the block that shows the overall height and then also what those holes actually look like when you section this block out. So first thing we're going to need to do is go in and actually create the block so that we can then go in and create the holes themselves. So I'm going to go into Fusion, create a sketch on that bottom plane, R for rectangle. I'm going to make that 2 inches by 6 inches. Finish that sketch. And then I'm going to hit E for extrude. And I want to extrude that to a height of 3 inches. And now I have my block that is going to be used for my hole command. So let me pull my sketch back up here. And you can kind of start wherever you'd like, but I'm going to go ahead and start over here on the right hand side. Now what I need to do before I start making these holes is actually find the locations of each of the holes, which are dimensioned here. So to do that, the easiest, we're going to create a sketch on this top plane. I'm going to use the line command, use L on my keyboard. I'm going to find the midpoint of this side and then drag it to the midpoint on the other side. You'll notice it snaps right into place. Then I'm going to go under Create and grab the Point tool. And I'm going to pull up my drawing, and I want to put points approximately on that line where these holes are going to end up being. So we're going to say somewhere around there, 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 and there. And now I need to dimension the location of these holes as well. So pulling up my drawing again, I know that this first one is 1 inch from the edge. The next one, or the second hole, is 1.5 from the first one. Third one's 1.5 from the second one, and the fourth one's 1 inch from the third one. So I'm going to hit Escape to get out of my line command. My point command. I'm going to hit D for dimension. I'm going to dimension from this right edge to this first point. Make that 1 inch. Dimension from that first point to the second point. That should be 1.5 inches. From the second to the third should be 1.5 inches. And then from the third to the fourth should be 1. So now I've located each of the center point of each of those holes that I need to create from my drawing. So I'm going to finish the sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that first point on the right hand side, and you'll notice it highlights blue. And then I'm going to click on the hole command, or I can hit H on the keyboard. Either one will work. When I do that, it's automatically going to select it, and it's going to use whatever my last settings were in the hole command or whatever the default settings are, which are not accurate to the hole that I need to make. So I'm going to go and open my drawing. This first hole is a 0.5 inch diameter through hole, meaning it goes all the way through the part. And it has a counter bore of 0.75 inches in diameter, and that counter bore goes 0.625 inches deep. So over on my hole panel over here, first thing I want to do is select counter bore. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and fill these values in. So I already have 1/2 inch filled in here, which is great. It is a through hole, and if I put 3 inches here, that'll actually go all the way through. But if I come back later and decide I want to make this block taller, then that will only go 3 inches into that block and it won't actually go all the way through. So under extents instead of distance, I'm going to select all. That'll send it all the way through the part. And then I have a diameter on my counter bore of 0.75, and then my depth should be 0.625. And then I'm going to leave this 118-degree drill point on here, even though it's a through hole. You won't ever see it. We're going to use that as a default, so we'll leave it. Hit OK. Now if I rotate my part, you can see that that hole goes all the way through. So you also will see that our sketch is now gone. So in order to use those other 3 points, we're going to need to bring that sketch back. So if we go back to the browser, expand our sketches menu, we're going to unhide sketch number 2 by clicking on the eyeball there. Then I'm going to click on that second point, hole command again, and then I'm going to go through and set this up. Now one thing you'll notice is that this is still set up like the first hole. So I'm going to go to my drawing, and there is another hole, which is this third hole, that is similar to that one. It's got a counter bore. The depth is slightly different. It's not a through hole, and the diameter is slightly different, but I'm already set up for a counter bore. So actually, I'm going to exit out of this and go back into and select the third point. That way I don't have to change quite as much. So I'm going to click that third point, hit the hole command, pull up my drawing, and now I just need to change a couple things. So my diameter needs to change to 0.375. First of all, my depth, instead of all the way through, is going to be 2 inches. My diameter of my counter bore is still 0.75, but my depth is only 0.5. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to select on the second hole, or second point, and go to my hole command, pull up my drawing here. This one is a countersunk hole. So I'm going to go over to my hole panel. Instead of counter bore, I'm going to select countersink. The diameter of my countersink is 1 inch, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that one in there. 1 inch. It is an 82-degree counter bore, as shown in the hole note. The overall diameter of the hole is 0.25, so we're going to go down here to the bottom and change that to 0.25. And then the overall depth is 2.25, as shown right here. So 2.25, and hit OK. We're going to leave that drill point on there, by the way, and if you look in your drawing, both of these holes have drill points on the bottom, so we're leaving that 118 degree. And then finally, we're going to go to this last one, last point, hole command. If we look at our drawing, it's a simple 0.5 inch diameter through hole. So we're going to change this hole type back to simple. We're going to change our extents to all, and then change our diameter to 0.5. Hit OK. Now I want to go ahead and hide this sketch because I don't need it anymore, so I'll just click on the eyeball again and hide that. And if I rotate this around, you can see I have 2 through holes and 2 blind holes. 2 of the 4 holes are counter bore, and 1 is countersink, and 1 is just a simple hole. So once you have this part done, you're going to want to go ahead and save that. So you should have an PLTW folder, an IED folder, and you should make a 1.3.2 folder if you don't have one already. And then we're going to save this part as 1.3.2 drill block. Save. Once you have that part saved, we're ready to move on and talk about the drawing and actually making hole notes within a drawing.